regularly scheduled school announcements and your regularly scheduled school program to bring you a day that will go down in educational history. A day you'll never want to forget. You'll never be able to forget. So put down your books, put away your pencils, forget all about your spelling tests. It's time for Nickelodeon to take over Selwyn Elementary School as Nick takes over Selwyn. Yabba-dabba-doo.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Oh, joy!
Let's rock.
It makes me wanna fart!
Dear Journal, it's me, Doug.
You have it!
Baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
That was a hoot!
On your mark. Get set.
Oh, here it goes!
Welcome to Splat Attack, where we're taking it back to the Slime-filled past. I am your co-host, Brett.
And I am your other co-host, Alex. And okay, Brett, what exactly are we talking about?
We're talking about this really cool, too cool for school sweepstakes called Nick Takes Over Your School. And for those who remember, this was a super awesome sweepstakes that kids could enter by sending away a postcard where they can win like a cash prize of $1,000 and have like a bunch of celebrities from Nickelodeon come straight to their school and essentially like boss around all the teachers, slime them, do fun like Nick oriented activities all around the school and just take the day off having a blast. And we actually have a special guest here today with us who's going to shed some more light on that subject with us.
So over on my Instagram, I was sharing a whole bunch of 90s Nickelodeon commercials about Nick Takes Over Your School. And then I found this one. And then I got to wondering, I wonder if this person is on social media anywhere. So after doing a bit of digging and finding a news article that was related to the Nick Takes Over Your School in this particular winter, I found a very willing and eager guest. So would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Breann Whitcomb, and Nick took over my school.
Heck yeah, that's so awesome.
I don't even think I told you, Brett. I felt really weird after I sent the first message to Breann because there was no lead in at all. I was so excited that I found this could be her and sent her a message and immediately no, I didn't send a message. I followed her and she followed very quickly, like within seconds. So I was like, ooh, quick, type while she's here. And the very first thing was, is this you? And then sent a link to the commercial. I was like, okay.
It's pretty much like the digital version of chasing someone that you pass by on the street and be like, yes. Hey, I know you. Don't freak out. I'm a fan, but please don't freak out. We want to get you. We want to connect with you and do some cool stuff. And you're like,
And I was like, okay, this could come off as being some kind of a scammer. So let me reiterate. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry how creepy this came off, but I was really excited and she was very understanding. So thank you again for being here with us.
Well, you are very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and we want to hear all about what school is like on that day that Nick took over your school back in 1994. Before we dive into that, though, I'm going to give like a quick rundown for all you listeners who don't know what Nick Takes Over Your School is, just to kind of give you a briefing of like what's it about. I mean, we already mentioned some of it before, but I'll go through it again just in case you weren't paying attention. So what is Nick Takes Over Your School?
A lot in school.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to like be like the teacher of the group for this episode just to keep everyone staying on task. So, like it or not, we're going to get through this. And I promise there won't be any detention, any punishment, or any homework assignments.
Ooh, okay. You got my attention now.
Good. All right. So for those who don't remember, this was a sweepstakes where kids sent in a postcard to just be chosen. It's pretty much just their name and address. And they literally drew like from hundreds of thousands of postcards that were sent in every single year. And I'm pretty sure it started 1988, the year I was born, believe it or not, and then continued to 1999, and it actually went a little bit into the 2000s, but I couldn't find like a definitive end date for that. Yep. So we're just going to say it's an 80s and 90s thing for the sake of our podcast topic. And basically what happened is when someone's postcard got chosen and they won, Nick's celebrities who were participating for that specific year, it usually changed every year with a few regulars. They would come to your school in a bus, you would ride with them, have like a nice little parade type thing where all the kids are outside cheering. You have a bunch of Nick themed decorations all over the place. And you got to do a lot of fun activities, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth in a few moments.
From what I'm seeing, it looks like it ended around 2004.
Okay, good. Thanks for confirming that. Yeah, because I've seen a few like commercials here and there when I was, scouring the corners of the internet, and it was just hard to tell for sure. But I did like how each commercial that I found, there's like 6 or 8 of them, they all had a distinct feel to them, like a distinct logo. They had a distinct like winner with them and like, announcer. It was pretty cool. It was like a little mini episode of what's to come. But before we dive into that again and talk about some other past Nick Takes Over Your School events, Breann, let's talk about your specific event since we have you here. So tell us a little bit about what went on February 17th, 1994 at Marley Middle School in Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, it started with a bunch of newscasters coming to the house and sitting with us while my mom used this steamer to curl up my hair really big because it's the 80s, it's like early 90s, and I had to have the big hair. And we had the newscasters there, and I lived at the bottom of a cul-de-sac, and it snowed. And they had to bring the bus to the top, and we had to walk up to the top to get to the bus. We were all worried that school would be closed. It was, kind of hectic. So we go up to the top, and Mark Summers got off the bus, and I almost passed out.
Oh no!
I believe it.
I was just like in awe, and he was so kind, and just congratulated me, said hello, gave me a hug. And I don't know what it was, maybe my personality back then, but once I got on the bus, I was like, oh, well, I met a celebrity, now I'm good.
Life goal, check.
Yeah, I'm good. And then I got along with everybody else and was a lot more calm. So we had Pete and Pete.
Both of them there?
Yes.
Wow. All right.
Melissa Joan Hart. The guy who hosted Nick Arcade.
Phil Moore.
Mm-hmm. Mark Weiner.
Nice.
Yes.
Some people from the Roundhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Stimpy? I think Stimpy was there.
Oh, that's pretty neat. They had some mascot costumes that showed up as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. They said that I think something about Breann being in Mexico or something. I don't know, because we had the
Sure, why not?
I made up an excuse.
I mean, he is a Chihuahua.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was 90s. He was at Taco Bell. Let's be realistic.
Oh geez. Yeah, hanging out with the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Yeah.
But I got really lucky because they do all the programming and such for all the students, but when you win, you kind of get special treatment. So all the other kids had to go to class, go through their regular classes. I never went to class that day. I got to hang out with everybody. They had it all set up in the library where a luncheon with, deli meats and catered and stuff. And I was playing with GAC with Melissa Joan Hart and Pete, and we were all throwing it to each other and just having a good time. My sister got to come, even though she was in elementary school. A bunch of my cousins, my niece and nephew got to come. So my family all got to be there. And kind of join in all the fun. So we hung out with the celebrities and had a great day. And I don't know what happened, but I took a bunch of pictures, and I think someone took some of the pictures when we got them developed.
Oh
no!
Because there was one picture that I really, really wanted, and it was the guy from Nick Arcade picked me up by my legs and we took a picture upside down. And it was so cool, but I don't have the picture, just the memory.
We're we're certainly thankful that you shared the memory with us, because no one can ever take those away.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool, and everybody was so kind, and like they didn't act like they didn't want to be there. I mean, Big Pete and Melissa Joan Hart were probably 17 years old at the time, and I'm 11.
Wow.
By the way, huge crush on Big Pete.
You hear that,
Still
Michael
kind of
Morona?
Because he, at the end of the day, he got down on his knees to look me in the face because I was very tiny. And he's like, I had a wonderful day with you. And it was just really sweet. And of course, that means writing in your diary, he's in love with me. I have to be him.
got a case of yellow fever, eh?
Oh, it was love. It was just true love.
Aw, that's so sweet. I know if I were in your shoes, I would feel the same way. I'd have a man crush on Big Pete as well, because I relate to him. I even have the same hair swoop as he does in the show.
I see that. I see that. No, that was my thing. Big Pete was it for me. What else did we do? We got slimed. That was at the end of the day, obviously, so that we could,
Right. Otherwise, it'd be hard to like go from classroom to classroom covered in drying mystery goop.
Now, who all got slimed? Was it just a few select people, or was it okay? We brought enough for the entire school.
So really interesting. They had these tubs, like these big tubs full of the slime. And I'm talking to one of the tech guys that were back there, and he tells me it's edible. It's like oatmeal and this and that. And he's telling me what it's made of. And he reaches in and scoops up a handful and puts it in his mouth.
Oh my goodness. That's shocking.
Like, you can try it. So I tried it. It's not great, but it's not going to kill you. So that's good news.
I think some people have reported in the past that it's like oatmeal mixed with like food dye and applesauce for like the goopy consistency, maybe a little corn syrup.
Yeah.
There's been different versions of it.
Yeah. Of varying textures too. Some are smoother than others, depending on what generation they came from.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was very surprised when the one at our school didn't look, I guess, as thin. It didn't have like that thin, drippy consistency. It was
right.
So they during the day they slimed the teachers. So I think like the principal and a couple teachers, administration got slimed. I think a couple friends got slimed during that point too. At the end of the day, they picked a few of us to stand in a line for the commercial shot. And that's when I got slimed at the very end.
They saved the best for last.
On the commercial to be up there with me. So it wasn't like people I knew or anything particular. They just picked a group of kids and were like, stand in a line. We're going to throw slime on you. I was like, all right.
That's pretty cool. I wonder if they had to go home like that and like tread lightly and like try not to get it all over their backpack and stuff.
I can't even remember how I got home. I think at that point I was probably just so exhausted from, like just drained from the day.
Taking a nap on the auditorium floor right there covered in slime. And you're like, my mom will clean me up in an hour.
That sounds about right. When I got slimed, I remember they were like, and it might be in the commercial, it was like slime and slimed and slimed, and that's when they're hitting everybody, and then I'm supposed to yell and slimed, and then they hit me in the face with it. There was actually a lot of cool stuff that they sent to me too, as the winner, that they don't really talk about that on the commercials and such. You win the $1,000. I don't remember having that money.
Oh
no.
Did your mom take it?
So here's the thing. My sister's 2.5 years younger than me, and she's the one who got the address to send in the postcards. She's the one who asked my mom to get 3 postcards a piece for us, and we both wrote out 3 postcards a piece and sent them in, and I'm the one who won. The idea was that we split everything, which was fair,
Yeah. I'd say so.
And so it was $500 for each of us. And I remember going to the store a few times and no concept of money and being like, I want that with my money. I don't know if they ever kept real tabs, but I know I got a lot of Littlest Pet Shop stuff. And I got Echo the Dolphin on the Sega Genesis.
Hell yeah.
Gosh.
And those are what I remember getting. Who knows how much I spent on Littlest Pet Shop. probably $500. So
I mean, considering the fact that one of the other kids I researched, his name is, was it Robert Wren, I believe. He was one of the previous year winners. He basically said on live television, "I'm going to save half of it and spend the rest on Nintendo games." So it's not wrong to assume that you're an irresponsible kid who's just going to blow it, because if any of us were in your shoes, we do the same. We don't have concept of mind. Just take me to the toy store and clean them out.
Yes, that's good. I'm good at the toy store. I will spend all of it.
Yes. So I don't remember exactly what I got, but apparently we both spent $500. And they sent me, like, I actually have a lot of the stuff still. They sent me a Nickelodeon watch, a big, really nice jacket that's a Nickelodeon across the back, a clock, I think some posters, calendar. Oh, and then I still have the cardboard check.
Oh,
really?
I still have that.
Wow.
I didn't realize they let you keep those. I thought it's just for show.
Oh, let me see if I have it.
Wow, look at that.
Gosh.
It's even got a Nickelodeon logo on it. How authentic.
Yeah. The stickers are a little bit coming off. I don't know if you can see it, like right here.
Yeah.
It's very old. It's very old.
You should frame that.
How big is that thing?
Let's see. This is a door, I guess, almost to a door handle.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Another relic of the 90s is like
they also gave me a director's chair that was really cool. I still have that as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like a fold-up director's chair that says Nickelodeon across the back.
Very cool.
Lots of fun stuff.
You certainly got the VIP treatment.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Do you still have the orange cap and the blue shirt?
Possibly somewhere. I have a big container that I tried to keep all my Nickelodeon stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably in there. I didn't throw anything away.
Yeah, all I managed to find online was like someone actually took like a picture of the logo of both the front and the back of the blue shirt from Marley Middle School. So it's pretty neat to see like some other student post that online, but that's all I got.
Oh, that's cool.
But we'll definitely post that on our Instagram page so you guys can check it out, because it's definitely a great find, a diamond in the
That's
rough,
awesome.
if you will.
Yeah, I'll have to find some. I'll send you some of the pictures too. I've got a picture of Big Pete.
Ooh, you with him?
He's on top of the lockers.
Oh wow!
The kids were surrounding him.
Uh-huh.
So he was on top of the lockers.
No! Did they chase him up there?
Yeah, he was signing autographs on top of lockers. I got
my
a picture
goodness!
Breann chased him up there. Let's be real.
A little bit now.
She was leading the charge.
I was standing back far enough, but we got to eat lunch together. That's what is important.
I am kind of curious about the events during, your Nick Takes Over Your School event. Did you do anything in the auditorium, like some sort of obstacle course, or was there like a musical guest? Could you elaborate on that?
They had an obstacle course. They were letting the kids go, I think one classroom at a time, or like multiple classrooms at a time throughout the day. So everybody would get like turns in there and they were like switching off. I don't think I ever went through the obstacle course. I'm pretty sure my sister did. I was really busy. Like they kept me super busy.
I mean, you got to see the celebrities, got to hang out with them. So I'd take that over an obstacle course.
Exactly. Totally. They had Mr. Wizard. He did some of his performance up on stage, and he saved my life. He had something explode and it went right in my face. And I think in the commercial you might be able to see it, or maybe it's in one of the newspapers, but he grabs me and pulls me backwards. And he's like holding on to me, like my face away from this thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did notice in the commercial something went off and he went from smile to serious, and then there was a quick movement. It's like, oh, what? Okay, so that confirms that.
Watch Mr. Wizard like rip apart his shirt and reveal like Wizard Man to the rescue.
I always used to say Mr. Wizard saved my life, and that was like my good. What did you do? Well, Mr. Wizard saved my life. So,
right? I mean,
I've got stories.
That man is like an incredible not even a father figure, but like a legend among 80s, 90s Nick fans, because
Oh yeah.
with Mr. Wizard World airing and showing all those different experiments, you wanted to be those kids on there doing it with him. And he somehow had a way of making it seem interesting so that it would hold your attention for every segment.
Mm-hmm.
Without it being comedically gimmicky.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I know some of those shows too. And I do watch those also. So
we'll have to do
love science.
a Mr. Wizard episode down the line, because he's fun to talk about. Don Herbert.
Yeah, very, very cool guy. Very, very kind older man, very sweet. Then tag team.
Ooh.
I was wondering who the musical
I was
guest
curious,
was.
yeah.
It was tag team. Might I say I didn't grow until I was older. Like I was very late bloomer.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very, very, very short and tiny in the 6th grade. And those men are so freaking tall. They're huge dudes. So nice. They were so nice to me, but like I was at their waist. Like they were just these giants, and they were like super happy and like excited and just having a good day. And then we got to dance for that part, which they show that in the commercial. It's terrible.
Was it to Wump There It Is? They're like one hit wonder. Awesome.
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Did they do any other songs, or was it mainly just like one song and then back to the?
They did a few songs, I think, just a couple.
Okay, cool.
Not very many, but it was like such an action-packed day. Like I had these individual. I mean, I was 11.
Yeah.
So I have these individual memories of like the spectacular parts, and my parents were there, my family was there, which was really cool. So it was a different experience for the person who wins than everybody else. And I am grateful for that experience. It was very, very cool.
Yeah, it's like a once in a lifetime deal, because, you win among hundreds of thousands of people who submit every year, and you don't know where they're going to go next. I mean, they've had winners in like Michigan, North Carolina, Colorado, Arizona, Florida. So they're all over the place. Illinois.
I think they only did one a year.
Yeah, they did.
So another funny story, actually, and it takes place before they came to the school. They call your parents when you win to ask permission for you to win. My parents are like, yeah, of course. Sure, she's going to win. That's awesome. Then they have to talk to the school, and the school board has to approve. So the school board approved. Then the principal has to approve. Well, my principal was very old. So my parents didn't want to tell me until it was a sure thing, but they couldn't hold it in.
Yeah.
So they told me, look, you won, but your principal has to agree to it. So I didn't hear about it until it got to that point. It was like, I don't know, it was like a Tuesday or something. And me and my sister were talking about it. Because he was an older man and didn't have young kids, he didn't really know what Nickelodeon was. So he wanted to watch it before he agreed to have them there. And me and my sister were so grateful we actually talked about it, that Ren and Stimpy wasn't playing that night.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Otherwise he would have been like, nope, not in my house.
No. And I always remember that, just like the prayers that, oh, thank God Ren and Stimpy's not on tonight.
And how
he agreed. So.
How ironic that Stimpy would come to your school. It's like, if I can't see you on TV, I'm just going to give you a hug in person either way.
Yeah, it was too much. Like looking back at just me and my sisters, like just fear that night. Like, what is he going to decide? Is he going to let us do it?
That anxiety as a child of the, okay, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? It's going to happen. Okay, it's going to snow. Okay, it's going to snow. Are they going to cancel this? Okay.
My anxiety for that is like, okay, it's going to be the first day of school tomorrow. I got to have all my school supplies. I got to have my backpack near the front of the door. I got to make sure I don't say anything stupid. I got to figure out who I'm going to talk to, all that stuff that runs through your head.
Curl your hair.
Yes, forget. Exactly. You got to make sure you're looking, camera ready.
lots of newspapers came in the weeks before and stuff like that when they announced it. But my parents kept it from me for a little while just to make sure it was going to happen first.
Right. Well, it's probably for the best so that, your hopes wouldn't be dashed at the last minute, especially with like the principal thing.
Yeah.
Did your principal end up getting slimed for the event, or was it just
He did get slimed. He's one of the guys on the stage that got slimed.
Awesome. How did he feel about that experience?
He actually seemed really happy about it. Everybody who got slimed seemed really happy. Like, it was just such a unique day. Like, you can't plan that. That's an experience you'll never have again.
That's the golden era of Nickelodeon in a nutshell. It's like just pure fun, spontaneity. And, their slogan is Nick is kids. So it's all about making this content for the kids so that they feel like they're in charge. And, with Nick Takes Over Your School, they get to have that sense of agency and control for once in their lives where they turn the tables playfully, mind you, against the adults and, just get the run amok. And surprisingly, most of the times, as far as I know, there weren't like any bad outcomes of it. Everyone had a fun time, and now we all have fond memories to share together.
Yeah, and I occasionally, like every couple years, I'll see somebody will send me the video again, or someone will remember my name in the area because Glen Burnie's not very big. We're outside of Baltimore. Like someone will remember my name, or hey, I was there, or I'll read an article where, it'll be people talking about it. And it does. It brings back all that happy stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
And how sassy I was, because I was freaking sassy.
Oh, you showed it off in the commercial.
Yes.
I wanted to be famous. I was a ham. I'm still kind of a ham, but I was like a real ham back then. So
I mean, when you're in front of a camera.
They put me in a video game.
Wait, what?
They put me in the Nickelodeon Directors Lab.
Really?
You can slime me in that game.
Tell us about that.
They called and asked for permission to use my likeness and put me in the video game. It's so hard to play now, like a computer won't even run it.
Right.
But you just got to make a video of me being slimed and like insert stuff into it and stuff. So just part of the very mini game type game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I used to have a similar game like that called Simpsons Director Studio for like Windows 95 back then. It was essentially like using loops of characters, and you'd have like various backgrounds that you would put them in and some sound clips. And, it wasn't professional quality. Like you weren't going to make any Spielberg films through, the software, but it was good enough for a kid and you had a lot of fun with it. So I'd imagine that, with the full motion video clips that you got to interact with in the Nick Directors game, I'm assuming it's for PC, right?
Yeah.
You just kind of add some fun effects on top and cut things together and just have a blast. It doesn't even matter how it turns out.
Okay.
I was sure I was gonna be famous.
I am gonna share my screen. Pause right there.
There's me.
Yeah, in the lower right corner.
That's her.
Does he use it?
I don't know. I haven't got that far yet.
Wait. Oh, there she is.
That's me.
Yeah, it's they apparently like that one more than you. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? That was suggestive. Well, they like yours.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, we're gonna stop that.
Oh, that was bad.
This is just full of surprises. Bloopers. Oh my goodness. Reminds me of a Plumbus from Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I've never even played this game before.
I haven't either.
Maybe we need to do a let's play for our patrons on Patreon once we get that up and running.
Oh man.
Wow. So yes, Breann is in Nickelodeon Directors Lab for anyone who wants to search down the software and get it running on like their Windows 95 computer, if they still have one. And yeah, good times.
Oh crap. Okay.
Yeah, that was, I forgot that there were such interesting videos in that game.
Yeah, interesting is a good way to put it.
There you go.
But we're gonna segue, unless you have anything else to add about your memories of Nick Takes Over Your School 1994, to some other ones that I dug up, if you want to hear that.
I would love to hear that.
Cool. So I also found the other ones were admittedly hard to find, so I'm just going to give you like the timeline overview of them. But one in particular from 1989, Robert Wren from Selwyn Elementary School in Charlotte, North Carolina. He had a few interesting things to say.
Last fall, fifth grader Robert Wren entered a national contest sponsored by Nickelodeon, a cable television network. Well, to his surprise, the producers randomly picked him out of thousands of entrants as the winner. Well, now Robert's school, Selwyn Elementary, will soon be filmed for national broadcast. Plus, Robert gets $1,000.
Blow 200 on what?
Well, toys, Nintendo games.
When a bus named Gus rolled in that day, Mark Summers and Barth of You Can't Do That on Television took over as principal for the day. Mark and the Double Dare staff helped kids donning the trademark orange in hats and shirts play on select obstacles from the show's landmark course. One news anchor elaborates on his statement and also talks to Mr. Wizard. I keep saying Mr. Lizard or something like that because that is that's a parody on the 90s show Dinosaurs with like the dad who's kind of like Dan from Roseanne and the baby, not the mama. Yes. So one news anchor was interviewing Mr. Wizard, Don Herbert, here, and he, as we saw before, he was there to run some science experiments on stage. And I believe this one involved like lighting a candle with flash paper, which he's actually done on his show before, where it changes like different colors depending on what chemicals the paper's treated in. So like you hold it over a candle and poof, it's like a nice little flashbang trick that magicians can use. So he straddles the line between magician and scientist, which I appreciate. And there's a random cat. I do want to also mention that for his particular Nick Takes Over Your School event, Lou Snyder, who is the first host of the game show Make the Grade on Nickelodeon, was also present, and they pretty much did like a mock version in the classrooms. So they had kids participating in Make the Grade within the confines of a classroom. But unfortunately, we didn't really get to see that much footage, but we know that it existed. And hopefully, when we get to our topic of game shows, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about Make the Grade. Also, Magellan from Eureka's Castle, the big lovable puppet that's like 8 feet tall. He was there too. So it was very similar to Stimpy, where they had a mascot character along with a bunch of people from different shows, and Count Duckula as well, which you'll see in the footage. I did also note that the Double Dare obstacles featured in Robert's sweepstakes event was down the hatch, the ringer, the tank, and the suspension bridge. And they actually brought back the ringer a few times for different Nick Takes Over Your School events that Mark Summers appeared in, because out of all the people, he did do the most of them. I did look that up, with Melissa Joan Hart in second place for most frequent appearances. Mark mentions that the previous year that they did in '88 was in Detroit, and because it was a big success, they gave it another shot here. So there's a little snapshot of Nick Takes Over Your School from 1989. And since I really don't have much information on any of the other ones, I will just go through a timeline of all the ones that I managed to find.
I do have a couple things to add in with
Sure.
the later run. I'll have to see if I can dig it up, but there was a commercial for, I believe it was You Can't Do That on Television.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the influence that show, not necessarily the influence, but the impact the show has had in general on Nickelodeon and children's programming. And then Les Lie got to go to a Nick Takes Over Your School, and they had in the commercial for it. And he went to the PA system as Garth, I believe.
Barf.
And Barf, thank you, and was just in full character. Okay, we're the Principal's not in charge today.
Oh, that's great.
Good morning. All our buses are in. Our menu for today will be cold.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you give me a...
Oh, my word.
Would love doing that to a principal. Is this thing working? Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. That set the sound man back about a week. Can you hear me, kids? Yeah, I guess they can. Testing. Okay. Ready? We interrupt our regularly scheduled school announcements and your regularly scheduled school program to bring you a day that will go down in educational history. A day you'll never want to forget. You'll never be able to forget. So put down your books, put away your pencils, forget all about your spelling tests and homework assignments. Don't even worry if you're writing something to your girlfriend, or maybe you're wearing 2 different colored socks, or if your underwear's on backwards, or if you're wearing 2 different sets of underwear and your socks are on backwards. That doesn't sound... Anyway, it's time for Nickelodeon to take over Selwyn Elementary School as Nick takes over Selwyn. Yabba-dabba-doo.
And I believe in one of the other commercials that I had shared with Phil Moore, he had commented that they changed the Double Dare obstacle course with Guts obstacle course.
Yep, I did see that in a few appearances when I did my research.
And you turn your gym into Nickelodeon Guts.
Beginning with 1988, we have Sean from Western Utica Elementary in Shelby, Michigan. The celebrities for that Nick Takes Over Your School was Mark Summers, Mr. Wizard, Barf, and the Don't Just Sit There Kids, which apparently was a show in the mid to late 80s on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, very short-lived.
Yep. The musical guest was not mentioned, but based on their appearance in the commercial that I found, it does look like New Kids on the Block or whatever boy band that was close to that.
And that tracks because New Kids on the Block was featured on Don't Just Sit There.
Okay, so that makes total sense. They also mentioned a surprise guest from Nick Rocks for that particular year, but I don't know, maybe that folds into Don't Just Sit There or something like that, because I don't know much about Nick Rocks.
I mean, they had a few musical guests, but the Monkees did a few different things for Nick Rocks as little interstitials. So that's my guess, but I have nothing to back that up with.
I didn't think they were still playing decades later.
They did some guest appearances. There was a lot of resyndication of the Monkees in the late 80s, and it's so awful that I know this, but Mike Nesmith was not with them, but the other 3, Mickey Dolenz, Peter Tork, and Davy Jones, they did a lot together. And a lot of those appearances on Nick Rocks and the re-airing with the interstitials, it was the 3 of them.
Fascinating. Wow, look at you flexing with your Monkees knowledge there.
It's
I only know about Davy Jones from that one Partridge Family episode from Nick at Night where everyone's geeking out about him. But that's
never wash this cheek again.
Exactly.
That was Brady Bunch.
Oh, he was on. Yeah, that's right. Brady Bunch. Sorry, they're the same in my head.
They are.
2 musical families. Yes, another episode. Moving on with 1989, obviously we have Robert Wren from Charlotte, North Carolina, which we had mentioned before. Mark Summers and Les Sly returned. There wasn't any other mention of other show guests here, but I did note that the musical guest was called The Boys. I don't know much about The Boys, but they performed for that, so maybe I'll have to look for some music from them.
It was before they were 2 men.
Hey, maybe you're onto something there. That could have been Boys to Men before they were grown up. They started as The Boys, and they get a record deal and they evolve whoop, 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 to Boys to Men, and now we got 90s hits. Is that what
evolving sounds like?
No. I'm a Pokemon fanatic, so I know exactly what it sounds like. It's like
and see, with the hand and the sound that you made, I was thinking more like Super Mario Brothers when he gets the mushroom.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking too.
Use your video game sound effect of choice here. I'm sure it'll be fine either way. Moving right along, we have Stephanie Van Seer from 1990. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any information on the celebrities or the musical guests. So, if anyone has any information on that, let us know. Same thing with the 1991 one. which featured Samantha Moreland as the winner. The celebrity include Hulk Hogan and I believe Melissa Joan Hart and the Roundhouse Gang as well, but I can't confirm for sure. I only saw like literally clips of like blurry pixelated people in the footage that I found. In 1992, we have Christine Evans from Wilder Elementary in Littleton, Colorado. The celebrities there were Mark Summers, Melissa Joan Hart, Wild and Crazy Kids cast, and the musical guest was Criss Cross, at the height of their fame, with the backwards pants and that one other hit, Jump. 1993, I actually couldn't hear the name of this person because it was so blurred in the commercials that I dug up, but the celebrities were Mark Summers, Melissa Joan Hart yet again, and the entire cast of Are You Afraid of the Dark, which I thought was really interesting. And the musical guest was Roundhouse. So I guess for some reason or other, they just pulled everyone from SNCC and they're like, hey, you got like a day to spare? You want to come over to the school and do your thing there?
And actually, I don't remember which year it was. I'm pretty sure it was the 92. There was a SNCC block where they showed a lot of the Nick Takes Over Your School as the interstitials for the SNCC.
Oh, interesting.
SNCC block.
So that probably tied into it. 94 obviously is the topic of this episode with Breann Whitcomb from Marley Middle School in Baltimore, Maryland. Celebrities there were Mark Summers, Phil Moore, Mr. Wizard, Melissa Joan Hart, Mark Weiner. Musical guest was Tag Team. It was also mentioned in a news article that was published in the Baltimore Sun on February 18th, 1994. Moving right along, we have Jennifer Lang from Naples, Florida in 1995 as the winner. And the celebrities that time were Mike O'Malley, Phil Moore, Elisa Reyes from All That, Alfred Carr and Willis Green from Roundhouse, Mark Weiner, and Danny Tamborelli. And the musical guest this time was All for One, which have appeared on All That. So there could have been a tie-in there.
Elisa Reyes just shared that one the other day. I mean,
Really?
I shared it and tagged her in it, and then she was all excited because she hadn't seen anything Nick Takes Over Your School. So she shared that. She's like, shout out to this. Thank you, Alex, for sharing this. It's like, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love how things are interconnected like that whenever we reach out to special guests. So if you want to read more about that one, that was from the Tampa Bay Times, dated April 27th, 1995. 1996 is a flat out mystery. Couldn't find it. 97, there was an unknown student from Sonoma Ranch Elementary in Gilbert, Arizona. And I didn't write anything about this because when I found it on Reddit, it sounded like someone wrote fanfic for this year.
Oh, gosh.
And it ended with like the National Guard like canceling the event. So I chose to label that as fake news and not include this because we're a legitimate Nickelodeon source here.
Pass fact checkers.
Yes, we debunked it as the Nick Busters. Dun, dun, dun. Moving on with 1998, we have Kyle Villalobos from Valley View School in Romeoville, Illinois. The celebrities were Mike O'Malley and the Guts crew. Couldn't find out anyone else was there, unfortunately. Musical guest, no clue. But I did note that when I looked this up in the Chicago Tribune, dated March 28th, 1998, Kyle's mom, Gina, who is a proclaimed sweepstakes junkie, entered on behalf of her 7-year-old son because he was only in first grade at the time. So luck was on his side with, his parent, like just going at it, trying to enter to win anything possible. And lastly, 1999, also a blank. Could not find anything on that, unfortunately.
Or any after, if there were any after.
Yes. It's unfortunate how things like these that, even if we remember them fondly and still have some crumbs, surviving the sands of time, some of this stuff just doesn't make it as the years go by. And it's been almost 30 years since this has been like a staple of mainstream culture. So you really have to dig deep to find anything at all, among the nostalgia community on social media or like on YouTube or, through newspaper articles, whatever you can find. And
Nickelodeon did a lot of sweepstakes things.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick Takes Over Your School was probably the most popular and most recurring.
Right.
But there was a ton of sweepstakes that are just lost to time.
It's very unfortunate because if I had the foresight to save like all my Nickelodeon memorabilia from a kid because
if we were like Breann,
yeah,
and just put everything in a freaking tub.
I did do that.
Well, see, here's the thing. I used to collect all the Nickelodeon magazines. I had every single issue, but my dad made me throw them out because I was too old for them by high school. And I regret doing that. And I regret getting rid of the video game case for like Outtro Monsters and all that other stuff because I had no idea this was going to become a thing again. And, you know, we live in a culture now where it's like, do what you love. If it's nerdy, great. It's not just like, you know, follow the line. You got to either go to the draft or like earn a degree and become a scientist or a doctor or a lawyer. So, you know, unfortunately that worked against me, but at least, you know, we still have the memories and we're able to unearth what we could through various connections on social media. And for that, you know, we're definitely grateful to have you here to be a part of that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
I remember one of the other game shows that or not game shows, but one of the other sweepstakes that I really, really wanted to win was the one where you got to take the cart through the toy store.
Super Toy Run.
That was a dream.
Yeah, that's basically what contestants did with the $1,000 cash prize from this sweepstakes. It's like you go to school for Nick Takes Over Your School, and if you happen to win Super Toy Run, you're like, okay, mom, school's over, time to go to Toy Works or Toys R Us or whatever, and let's just like slam everything in.
Okay, so piggybacking off of that, we have our new segment. Well, it's not new; it's our recurring segment.
Yeah.
But since usually Brett asks the questions, this time I came up with some questions. So we are going to.
Before you do that, I gotta say my little this or that jingle. So
I was about to say, go for
roll the jingle. This or that, time to play this or that. In this round of this or that, Nick Takes Over Your School edition, we've got 5 fiery, fast questions for you to decide. Do you want this one or that one? Alex, will you run the gamut for us? And I will answer along with Breann.
All right, Miss Breann, would you prefer Toys R Us or KB Toys?
Toys R Us.
Brett?
Toys R Us as well, but I also went to KB Toys a lot. Quick story, that's where I bought my Jack Skellington doll with my grandma in 1993 that was mentioned in our favorite Halloween commercials episode. And I remember there being like 3 distinct rows in that tiny mall store, and it was like in the back right corner under this gross yellow light next to the Sally doll and a bunch of other Nightmare Before Christmas memorabilia. So shout out to episode 6. That's where I got it. My choice is KB Toys because of that.
And for me, Toys R Us. I very much love KB Toys, but Toys R Us was huge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bigger is better when it comes to toys. I don't blame you there.
Question 2: slimed or pied?
Slimed. I've experienced it, and it was very satisfying.
I will say slimed as well. I mean, I'm covered in it all the time. Well, at least metaphorically through my mascot character Buddy. So it's just me wanting to live the dream vicariously through my illustrations.
And I plead the fifth on this one. If you guys have heard me on the What Would You Do episode, you know my baggage there.
Yeah.
Question 3: Mr. Wizard or Bill Nye?
Mr. Wizard saved my life. I have to go with him. He rescued me. I can't lose him. He saved my life.
Oh, speaking of which rest in peace, Don Herbert. I believe he passed away in 2009.
2007 is when he passed.
Yes, 2007. Yes, rest in peace, Don Herbert. This is a tough one for me. I used to love waking up at like 6 a.m. watching Mr. Wizard, eating my cereal before I go to school. So it was a big part of that whole experience to like wake up and get ramped for learning.
Yes, same.
However, Bill Nye the Science Guy had a very, very catchy theme song. And when I came home from school, I had to do like the whole thing, like Bill, the science guy. Science rules. I have to give it
it's a property of matter.
I can't choose. It's a tie for me.
I would say Mr. Wizard. No discredit to Bill Nye, personal preference, Beekman's World, but
I was just thinking about that one.
We honestly wouldn't have a Bill Nye or a Beekman's World if it wasn't for Mr. Wizard.
Very true. Very true. Although I do have to add real quick that Bill Nye did visit my college back in 2008.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to meet him in person, and that helps his cause a little bit.
All right, question 4. This is a bit wishful thinking, but if such a thing existed, Nick takes over your school or Nick takes over your job?
School. I think I could appreciate it better back then. Like it kind of shaped a lot of my childhood. It definitely had a bigger impact than I think it would as an adult.
Yeah, good answer. For me, I mean,
do you want them to do your artwork, Brett?
No. Short and sweet. You know what I would want them to do? Nick makes over your room, because that was a sweepstakes, and I always wanted that to happen to me.
Yes. Same.
Yeah. And my room's kind of boring, even when my art's not in it. So why not deck out my bed? Give me some of that sweet Nick accessories, like the notepad and the alarm clock and the telephone and the boombox and all that good stuff. And let me just live in like just an advertisement for 90s Nickelodeon. Why not?
I'm actually going to be the oddball and say job. As a kid, I would have loved Nick Takes Over Your School for the most part, but due to my phobia from a child being potentially slimed, I'd have been terrified of that happening, which would ruin my entire experience. But as an adult and working in a factory with a bunch of sticks in the mud, having Nickelodeon come over to that and take that over and just shake things up, I would have loved that. So I'd say job.
I'm just imagining like an assembly line of people getting slimed one after the other when they like put something together on a conveyor belt. I would love to see that. With like the Powerhouse theme song from like Raymond Scott, like doon 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 doon.
Oh no, I'm picturing more that you can't do that on television now.
Oh yeah, with like the Monty Python style animation in the beginning.
And then hear that scream. Rah! Rah!
Yeah. That would work better, or even the Fatheads from Rocko's Modern Life. Take your pick. These 3 options.
Yes.
But yes, we've concluded the this or that segment, and we're gonna wrap things up and head home from school because, man, we're exhausted from being slimed and living through our 90s childhood memories together. Breann, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a blast to pick your brain and hear what it was like to experience firsthand. And we know that our listeners, slimesters and gackoids out there, are just as excited to hear from you so that they can experience it as well.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to get to relive it every once in a while. And I got to do that with you guys. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for answering my very creepy initial text. So sorry about that.
You are not the first person to ask that question.
Everyone's a stranger on the internet until they make that leap of faith and connect. And then we all realize it's just not as bad.
Hopefully.
9 times out of 10. Anyways, if you listeners would like to get in touch with us and let us know what you remember most about Nick Takes Over Your School, you can email us at splatattack2021@gmail.com or head on over to our Facebook page or even DM us on Instagram at splatattackpodcast. We were covered in slime, so we gotta head home and clean off. Alex, if you will, please drain the slime tank for us.
Aye, co-captain.
Join us next time for another fun-filled, nostalgic adventure with Splat Attack as we deck the halls with Nick Christmas specials. Splat you later.
Reprise the theme song and roll the credits.
Hard to believe, folks, but it's time to say goodbye.
Nighty-night.
Hey, check us out next time for more adventure and another great legend of the Hidden Temple.
What'll we do till then?
Chill for a couple. We'll be back. You're on, Nick.
And it was time for the superhero to move on. I declare this meeting of the Midnight Society closed.
Bye-bye.
And it all happened because Nick is a place where only kids win. Yeah!